well, deep in the tunnels that people like Taylor Lorenz and other wanting journalists live in. You know, the tunnels that look at YouTubers, TikTokers, other content creators who have vastly more credibility than them just by existing, quite honestly, vastly bigger audiences than them because most of them have talent or, people like them. This boils over a lot of times into what drives the decisions that the modern day reporter makes. And in the background of everything else going on today, there's essentially a new push for another adpocalypse as being led by some jealous nobody at the Rolling Stone, signal boosted by Taylor Lorenz and other perpetual woke scolds. And if you allow me a minute, I want to talk to you about the Rolling Stone. Okay, Rolling Stone used to be about music. It is now a shell of its former self, a leftist propaganda outlet that is reduced to sending out sponsored tweets for sunglasses and creams. It has nearly 6 million Twitter followers, but struggles to break more than 50 likes on any given tweet. Most of their followers bots or long since disengaged. The Rolling Stone is a joke. You may have heard of the Rolling Stone over this past summer when they were hilariously busted pushing fake news about a hospital that was turning away people with missing limbs and all this kind of stuff because people were taking horse paste. It was an entirely made-up story, completely false. Rolling Stone's botched horsey sauce story raises questions about what is misinformation. What do you mean? It was 100% fake. They ran an article that said, oh my God, emergency rooms are overrun from people taking the paste. And there are people, here's like Rolling Stone has faced plenty of criticism. An article titled, lead injection victims left waiting as horsey sauce ODs overwhelm Oklahoma hospitals. Doctor says. 100% false. The article quoted Dr. Jason McKellia, who told the city that the rise in people using it overwhelmed emergency rooms and rural hospitals. I remember driving by my rural hospital all the time because it was on my way to my parents' house and there was never anyone there. Now, in the big cities, I know that they were overrun. My sister is a nurse and she went to New York City to help. One of my good friend's wives is a nurse. She went to New York City to help. But in the rural counties, it wasn't overrun. The hospital was empty most times I drove by. Now, maybe that's just mine. They were backed up. People were essentially dying in the waiting room. However, Northeastern Health System Sequoia then issued a statement rejecting the claim, saying that they had not even treated a single patient for said overdose, nor had it turned away a single one seeking emergency help. Following the hospital statement, Rolling Stone affixed an update at the top of the story Sunday, saying it had been unable to independently verify any such cases at the time of the update. Why did you run the article in the first place? You didn't bother to call. You didn't even call the hospital, bro. You didn't even call the hospital. Right? Of course, the same story was amplified by MSNBC's Rachel Maddow. The BBC, The Guardian, Business Insider, Newsweek, and New York Daily News also reported on the very same story. All completely false. Not one single phone call was made for credibility's sake. I mean, there was a time where you'd have to send a journalist on the road to confirm that kind of wild story. Now you could just video conference in and get an answer. They didn't even do that. Turns out the guy who was even saying the story didn't even work there. Okay? How about this one? Remember the huge story about the campus? There was this huge story back in 2014, 2015 that was broke by the Rolling Stone called an R word on campus. An explosive 9,000 word account of all sorts of terrible things that happened to a woman named, quote, Jackie. Guess what? Never happened. Was a complete fabrication. and the Rolling Stone ran it as fact, and the mainstream media reported it as fact. Okay? Now let's move to today. C.T. Jones, internet culture reporter, 3,000 whole followers at Rolling Stone, they, them. I'm shocked. My latest for Rolling Stone, a new report from Bot Sentinel. Oh, Bot Sentinel, you know, the company that has been at least working with, or at least alleged, working with AH's legal team, and has been like weirdly in this internet slap fights with content creators. You mean they went to the Rolling Stone to exact revenge on content creators? A new report from Bot Sentinel claims that at least 24 YouTube channels have been allowed to post defamatory, misogynistic content against Meghan Duchess. No, it's Meghan Markle. She's an American now, and you could have her back, please. I'm not calling her Duchess of anything, all right? She's an e-celeb. She's one leaked videotape away from being a worse-looking Kim Kardashian. She's added nothing to this world. Get her out of my country. Take her back, UK. I know I hear you all furiously typing. Nope. No givesies backsies. I know. Stuck with her. The sad thing is this broad's probably going to run for president one day. Oh, no, you can't. Okay, well, anyway. And AH unchecked by moderators. YouTube's current community guidelines prohibits. By the way, this article got 400 likes. But see, it's not about the uptake on social media. What it's about is the emails that they send to YouTube. We're the Rolling Stone, which still means something to YouTube. Nobody else in the world doesn't mean anything to, but to YouTube it does. We found all these horrible videos and you didn't let them be. What do you say about this? And what do they do? I mean, we've seen this playbook a dozen times. I've been YouTubing for, what, 15 years now? I've reported on, this is like a step-by-step playbook of what they do. They send an email and they say, wow, this is some pretty inflammatory stuff. Hey, YouTube. Oh, gosh, geez. We're going to run a report on it. What do you think would be easier for YouTube to do? To simply delete or demonetize the content creator? Or sit there and watch all the videos and provide them the benefit of the doubt? Exactly. This is how you get creators demonetized. YouTube's current community guidelines prohibit malicious insults focused on identifiable people. When reached for comment, YouTube removed 2 videos, just like I said they would, right? But allowed several channels to remain active. Allowed them? Wow, geez, thanks. 2 more videos under review, and the site says it is committed to safety. Quote, YouTube is to blame, Boozy tells Rolling Stone, the guy who runs Bot Sentinel, by the way. A lot of these folks would not do what they're doing if YouTube was not rewarding them. And let's be clear here, they are rewarding them. No, they're just filling a interest, right? Like there's people who are interested in this particular content, and so they're watching it. By the way, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Also know I am available on Rumble, Odyssey, and BitChute. When contacted for comment, YouTube spokesperson who had not yet seen the report said that the site takes these sort of violations seriously. We're committed to rigorously enforcing these policies equally for all creators. Mwah, yeah, except for, you know, the ones that the Rolling Stone writes an email about. Now you're going to stop and give them extra special look, right? And encourage any user to flag content that they believe violates our community guidelines. I like that they just know nobody wants to click through to their crap website, so they just put all the article on Twitter. Why should this matter to the average person? According to Boozy, a lack of follow-through with YouTube content moderation only puts the average person in more danger. No, it doesn't. There aren't entire channels dedicated to dunking on the average person. Dunking on Meghan Markle, or whatever her stupid name is interest because she's a public person, a privileged person, a multimillionaire. Pardon me while I don't shed any tears if people make fun of her. Same thing with AH, the Aquaman actress for now. Sorry, not sorry. Nobody would be talking about you if you didn't lie, as proven in court, about your ex. Nobody would even be talking about her. But she decided to try and lie, and then she became news. And it says, YouTube is not this is not 1999. This isn't the early days of the internet. A lot of folks consume their news on these platforms. And whether it's YouTube, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, we have a responsibility now to protect the users out there from this toxic stuff. If they're not willing to do that, we need legislation to push them in that direction. Legislation? What, for dunking on Meghan Markle, literal royalty? Oh, so you don't want the plebs to be heard. That's what this is all about, by the way, right? Journalists, the reason journalists hate like Tim Pool is because he eats their lunch. In fact, he's eating their lunch, their dinner, and their snacks. Because people trust him and they would rather watch him interpret an article than click on Variety or BBC or The Guardian, right? People trust me more than they trust the Rolling Stone. So they watch my article and my take on stuff. That doesn't mean they always agree with me, but they at least know I'm coming from a place where I'm trying to be honest. And when I make mistakes, I apologize for them. Taylor Lorenz doesn't do that. They stealth edit stuff. They never apologize. They never get held accountable. We do, though. And here's Alejandra Caraballo calls themselves wise. A clinical instructor, Harvard Law Cyber Law Clinic? What? So you're nobody. But of course you're verified. YouTube has by far the worst moderation of any social media site. Outright hate is regularly allowed and monetized. This reporting function is basically broken, and it's only acted upon once a video gets media attention. That's baloney. Videos get taken down all the time. Here she is coming for Nick Rekieta. Nick Rekieta called for Keffels to be lined up against the wall, and no, that's not what he said. Just misquoting. Also, Keffels misquoted him too. I mean, it's interesting. It's all about, and if you look at like, if you go in incognito, it pushes to the front, one, clickbait, no kidding, and two, right-wing propaganda. Oh, so if it was left-wing propaganda, you'd be fine with it. You watch. Taylor Lorenz will have an article tomorrow out of the Washington Post, and there'll be another article from the New York Times. This kind of stuff is always coordinated. So find your favorite content creators on alt tech platforms and always consider backing them, especially if they use something like Subscribestar. I don't talk about mine much because I have a large channel, but you know, the people that back me there are super duper important because eventually when I lose my monetization, this will be my only form of income. And this is just the fact for a lot of content creators who have already lost it. People like, you know, Sydney Watson got banned from Patreon, has her Subscribestar, thankfully. There's a lot of people that don't get monetized that rely on this kind of stuff, where they sell coffee or they sell t-shirts or they sell, you know, what the media wants though, is they want to silence us because they know that individual content creators carry a lot more respect than they'll ever have. I hope you enjoyed this video. I appreciate you tuning in. If you enjoyed it, leave a like on it, click that red subscribe button down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.